Each year, the Pioneer Engineers Club reunion features a different manufacturer of steam traction engines. The term tractor was not yet used to describe these massive machines during the 50 years they were manufactured in the United States. Many of them were manufactured right here in Indiana. The Indiana manufacturers of steam traction engines included the Gar-Scott Company in Richmond, Reeves and Company in Columbus, Keck-Gonnerman Company of Mount Vernon, and the M. Rumley Company of LaPorte.
You notice this is a straw burner. If you look in the back, Bill's actually poking straw in there. You don't have to use coal or wood. You can actually burn straw with that. Bill, you got a whistle.
Each afternoon, during the parade of engines, we have an opportunity to discover a little bit about the folks behind the machines.
Laura, our secretary up there at the wheel today, do you have a whistle? We're still not there. Any more? This is a 1912 Gar-Scott. The double-cylinder engine is owned by the Erdl family of Summit, Indiana. Gar and is it Cage up there operating? This engine built just up the road in Richmond, Indiana. This is a 1906 Reeve, rated at 16 horsepower. It's a double simple. It's owned by Don and Ann Atzinger of Bargerville, Indiana. On the engine today are Joe Hodson and his granddaughter Callie. They are descendants of the Reeves family that manufactured this engine. And Joey doing the steering up there, do you have a whistle? Any more?
I first became involved indirectly with the club when I was 7 or 8 years old. We used to come up here when the show was still at the Conservation Club, and I became fascinated with steam engines at that time, and I've always wanted to have one of my own. I enlisted in the Navy in 1982, qualified for the nuclear power program, and volunteered for submarine duty. And by 1989, I'd saved up quite a bit of money, and Dad saw a steam engine advertised in Wheels and Deals magazine, and I asked him to buy it for me, and we brought it out here in 1990, and I've been involved with the show ever since.
We're the proud owners of a 19 and 23 AD Baker steam engine. The Baker was made in Swanton, Ohio. My father used it in his concrete block plant back in 1929 to cure concrete blocks. And every day at 3 p.m. They would fire the steam engine. And when they fired the steam engine, they had a circulator that took the hot water off the engine, and that produced it over into the heat into the kiln room to cure concrete blocks.
This is a 1923 case engine that I have. It's one of the last years that they made steam engines before gasoline-powered equipment started assuming the responsibility of the steam. This engine came from northern Indiana. It was at a steam park, the Heston Steam Park, and I heard about it from a long-time steam engine friend. He was in his 80s. He knew I wanted to buy one, so we bought this case steam engine at that time. It was in disrepair, and we had to put new tubes in the boiler, which is the tubes are the part that carry the hot flue gases from the firebox to the smokestack, and they, of course, heat the water. This was the first steam engine to start this show 60-some years ago. It was the only steam engine owned by a gentleman by the name of Nelson Howard from Rushville, Indiana. I never knew him, but I've heard many good things about him, nice stories.
I ran the engine for the 587 on the Indiana Transportation Museum, and I got acquainted with him. He was putting new tubes in it. I spent about 10 years on the railroad before the steam locomotive went out, and he knew I knew quite a bit about steam, so he's always wanting me to come with him.
So what's your responsibilities? Are you stoking the furnace?
Yes, I help build a fire and get the steam up. And it's kind of an art. It ain't just, you got to know what you're doing to do it right. It's like firing a steam locomotive. Anybody can put coal in an engine, but there's a way to put it in there and a way to scatter it.